in the States, when we think about Japan, when we think about the trains, a lot of people think that the only trains you all have are bullet trains.
Yeah.
So we think every train's a bullet train. I've never had cold noodles before.
Yeah.
So I had the cold soba and it blew my mind. It was awesome.
Thank you for taking time. My name is Ryu. What's your name?
Malcolm.
Malcolm.
Mm-hmm.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So where are you from?
I'm from Atlanta, Georgia in the United States.
United States.
Yeah.
So how long have you been here?
I've been here since the 2nd, so almost a month now.
Almost a month.
Yeah.
So why did you decide to come to Japan for the long time?
I've wanted to come to Japan for quite a long time, for years now. And then I just graduated in May. So I had a pretty big gap of time where I wasn't doing anything. And I start school in August. So I'd wanted to come here for a long time and I had the time to take a long trip. So I just decided to come over here.
So your graduate school starts
August.
August.
Yeah.
But it's coming soon.
Yeah. I'll be when I get back, I've got like 2 weeks and then I start school.
So are you excited?
Yeah, I'm very excited. Very excited.
So in the future, what do you want to do?
I want to practice law and then also work in ministry. So I'm a Christian, so I want to work in the church.
Cool. Okay. Currently, you are working as a part-time job in the United States?
Yeah, so before I was a writing tutor. I was also an athlete, so I would help coach and do stuff like that. But yeah, I'm looking for part-time jobs when I get back. It's kind of hard to work and do school at the same time,
Yeah.
so usually it's stuff on campus. But yeah, I'm definitely looking for some more work when I get back to the States.
Okay, so what kind of sports do you teach?
So I used to wrestle. I was a wrestler for a long time. I was pretty successful at it too. So I would help coach youth athletes. I would also, I hurt my shoulder in my last year of college, so I was kind of managing and not really competing anymore. But yeah, for a long time, I would always help coach. In the summers, I would sometimes referee and stuff. But yeah, I always loved it.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're so master, so I
Yeah,
can tell
you know,
you're so
just a
lucky.
little bit. I've lost a little bit of muscle after I got surgery, but I'm still pretty big.
Okay, so why did you decide to come to Japan, not other country, Europe or other Asian country?
Well, I think it's just there's so many things over the years that there's so many like movies or TV shows or people that I've met that have kind of told me their experiences come to Japan. My dad, in his job, he travels a lot, and he told me Japan's one of his favorite places he's ever been.
Yeah.
I've had family that's come here before, and they've all just told me how nice it is. So I really wanted to come see it for myself, and I've really enjoyed it since I've been here.
Cool, so you came here by yourself, alone?
Yes.
So was it a little bit scared?
At first, it was a little bit scary, just kind of getting used to everything. The thing that threw me off the most at the start was how quiet everybody was. Like on the trains, everybody was silent. Nobody really talks out in public, so that kind of took some getting used to. But honestly, like after being here for so long, I kind of got settled, and it wasn't really that scary anymore. Like I understand how the trains work. I understand kind of how people act when they're out.
Yeah.
And it's way different than in the States. I'm not gonna lie. In the States, people are way louder.
Yeah.
They're more animated. They're more energetic. But in Japan, everybody's really calm and respectful and quiet. I really like it a lot.
So how did you get used to Japanese rule or social rule?
Oh, so
I think it's a little bit tough.
yeah, it is. It's kind of just context clues. I kind of just be quiet. My thing was just, I'm just gonna be quiet and look what everybody else is doing, and then kind of follow what they're doing. Especially like when I was in the train stations, I didn't realize that everybody kind of like lines up at first. So I was just kind of standing there like, why are they all doing this? But then I would see the little things on the ground and be like, okay, I'm supposed to follow this person. And when I go up the stairs, I'm supposed to go on this side. And when there's a sidewalk, you're supposed to walk over here so the bikes can go over there. So it's kind of like a learning process. I didn't understand everything at first, but after being here for so long, I think I kind of understand most of the rules.
Cool, you're so smart.
Yeah.
You run quick. Okay, so do you speak Japanese?
No.
So do you feel language barrier in Japan?
Sometimes. I would say most of the shops and restaurants I went to, they're kind of adjusted to English speakers, so they have like an English menu, or they'll know just enough English to help me with that. I do kind of wish that I had learned more Japanese before coming over so I could have conversations with people easier. And when I come back, that's definitely something I want to do. But for me, it was just really hard because like I speak Spanish also.
Yeah.
So when I learn a language, I also want to be able to read and write it. But to learn how to read and write Japanese is super hard. It was crazy. And then they got the 3 alphabets too. So it was really hard for me to learn that because like I was also learning Portuguese before I came here.
Cool.
And that's really similar to Spanish, but Japanese is unlike any other language I've learned before. So I know like a couple phrases. I know how to say like excuse me.
Like survival phrases.
Yeah, some important stuff, but I can't really speak it that well.
Okay, so what was the hardest situation you were struggled to talk to them? Like order some food?
I think ordering is pretty easy because most places they'll have like an iPad where they'll have an English menu, so that was pretty easy. And that's like one of my favorite places I went was Coco.
I love it. It's so tasty.
It was so good, and they have the English menu. I think the hardest thing was when I first got here, I accidentally landed in Narita when I was supposed to go to Haneda.
Yeah.
So I was 2 hours away from where I was staying, and I had no idea how to use the trains or anything. So I was trying to figure out the trains as I was going, and it was getting later and later. And I was doing well, but then I messed up and I got off at the wrong stop like one time.
Yeah.
And then I got lost, and it was super hot in the train station, and I was sweating, carrying all my suitcases and everything. I think that was probably the hardest moment because then I didn't really understand. I couldn't really read the signs that well yet.
Yeah.
But now I've kind of understood it.
But it's cool. Yeah, I would say it's super complicated. Even for Japanese, it's a little bit difficult sometimes. Yeah, I can feel you.
Yeah. But that's one thing I love about Tokyo is that the trains are so convenient. It's amazing. Because in the United States, we do not have that. There's a couple cities that have good trains. But
yeah, only big city, right?
Yeah. Especially the city I come from, Atlanta, you have to drive everywhere. Like there's no trains. You have to drive. You have to have a car. You're sitting in traffic all the time. It's awful. But that's one thing I love about Tokyo is first of all, how clean the train stations are.
Yeah.
They're all clean. The trains run on time. You usually always have space. There's some times where it's pretty tight and you got to put your arms.
I think for you it's super tight.
Yeah, for me it's kind of tight sometimes, but yeah, I love the train system, and it's really cheap too. That's one thing I thought would be kind of expensive getting around, but it's like at most like I think the most expensive thing I ever did was like 400 yen.
Yeah.
Train, so it's been great.
You can go anywhere by train, so I think it's super amazing thing.
Yeah, even it's funny in the States when we think about Japan. When we think about the trains, a lot of people think that the only trains you all have are bullet trains.
Yeah.
So we think every train's a bullet train. So
Yeah.
I came over here and I was like, oh, I want to ride the bullet train. They're like, well, they don't really have bullet trains in Tokyo. I went out to Osaka and Hiroshima and I rode the Shinkansen out there. But when I came in here and I saw that they're just kind of normal trains, I was kind of disappointed a little bit. But riding the bullet train was cool. I rode it down to Osaka, and I rode to Osaka, Hiroshima, and there was another island out there, but I can't remember what it was. And I went out to Nara to the deer park. Yeah, that was awesome.
Okay, so what is most surprising things in Japan for a month?
I would say it is way hotter than I thought it would be. I'm from the south in the U.S., so it's really hot down there.
Yeah.
But it is really humid out here. Like it's about as hot as it is in the United States here, but it is way more humid. So I'm sweating almost every time I come out here. But other than that, I mean, there were a couple things I weren't expecting. Like I wasn't expecting how cheap the food was, and the food here is so cheap and it's all so good, and it's just like it's made with like real ingredients. In the States, the food is so processed and it's so like it's almost like you're not even eating real food. But I come over here.
Yeah, it contains a lot of plastic things.
Yeah, it's got a lot of garbage in it.
Yeah.
But I come over here and all the food they're like making it fresh. Even in the 7-Elevens and the Lawsons, all the food is like made fresh in there. That's something I really appreciated about Japan.
Okay, so which Japanese food was best?
Oh, the best meal I had while I was here was in Shimokitazawa.
Yeah.
And it was a soba place. I can't remember what it was called, but they had some rice and some miso soup, and it was just amazing. I went out and I went shopping, and then I just stopped in. I walked past it. I was like, oh, that place looks good, and it was just amazing. It was absolutely amazing. I had never had cold noodles before.
Yeah.
So I had the cold soba, and it blew my mind. It was awesome.
Cool.
I loved it. Yeah, that was really good. The oysters I had were really good. Cocoa curry was amazing every time I go there. Even like the little fried chicken things at like Family Mart and Lawson's, I like those a lot too.
Famichiki?
Yeah, those are really good.
I know it's super popular for foreigner.
Yeah, those are really good.
Yeah, it's cheap, but it's so tasty. But I think a little bit oily.
Yeah, a little bit. I don't eat it every day.
Yeah.
But it is pretty good.
Yeah, we should not eat every day.
Yeah.
So, what was best experience in Japan?
I went to a lot of museums. I went to the Seiko Museum because I'm a big watch guy.
Yeah.
So just to learn about the history of it and the founder and how I didn't realize how important Seiko was for like innovation of just technology overall. So I really loved that. And then I would say the second most interesting thing I did was the Nara Deer Park, where they come up to you and they bow.
Yeah.
And you feed them the food. That was awesome. I loved that. Yeah, just walking around and like, cause in the U.S., so people like hunt deer. Like my uncle hunts deer, so you usually don't get that close to them.
Yeah.
But I just walked up and you were able to touch them and feel their antlers and everything, and they were really calm.
Yeah, that's so adorable.
Yeah, that was awesome. I loved that.
But do you know right now there are a lot of social program in that park, like foreigner kick the deer.
Oh, I didn't know that. Really? That's insane. I can't imagine that. Yeah, I went out there and they were all chill. Like there were some people that were a little scared of them that were running away.
Yeah.
I can't imagine like kicking a deer. Like, come on.
Yeah, that's a little bit insane.
Yeah.
Okay, so next question. Honestly, how is it like being a foreigner in Japan?
I think it wasn't that bad. I was kind of expecting. I've been to some other places where you don't necessarily feel as welcome. Even in the United States, there's some places where you don't feel as welcome. But in Japan, I never really felt that. People just, it wasn't like they were rude, but people were just kind of going about their day. So it's not like they were looking at me and like sneering or anything. I think people were really nice and really respectful. Anytime I asked for directions, people were really helpful. I don't think it's that hard, especially being somebody that was traveling solo. I had a really good time and I felt comfortable pretty much everywhere that I went.
That's rare to hear that.
Yeah.
Okay, could you give any advice to someone who wants to go to your country in the future in terms of like safety?
Okay, so the US obviously is a place where it's not as safe as Japan, but it is still a very safe place. What I will say is it's not similar to Tokyo to where you can just go somewhere and walk around and just find something fun to do. If you're gonna go out, especially at night in the US, know where you're gonna go and have an idea of what you're gonna do, and don't just get caught looking around like you don't know where you're supposed to be, because then somebody might come take advantage of you.
Yeah.
So like if you're gonna go out, if you say, okay, this Friday we're gonna go out, then know the place you're gonna go and go there and then come back. Don't be walking around and getting lost and all that, because then you might get in some trouble. But other than that, the US is a very, very safe place. It's just like, you can look it up, you can find out what areas are unsafe. And you can kind of tell, you'll be able to tell block by block which area you should and shouldn't be in. But most of the US is...
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I remember it.
Yeah.
Okay, last question. What is your short-term goal right now?
Short-term goal right now. I would say... I just finished undergrad, so I finished my first kind of block of college and education. And I'm about to start my second, which is like more of a professional, like getting ready to go into work environment. For me, one thing I always struggle with going into school is that I kind of don't try hard at the start. Like I try really hard at the end, but I kind of just like take it easy at the start. One thing that's really important for me is to just get really good grades from the beginning and not take it easy and be a little lazy at the start and then decide I'm going to start working hard on the back end. But to just start doing the right things from the very beginning, so it makes itself a little easier for me.
Yeah, I think that's important.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for taking time. Appreciate it.